in this column, Shiva Sutra.
So, Dr. Sastry, what I request is, if you can go through these 14 sutra and say 1 or 2 sentences about each.
Yeah,
from a politic perspective, because there are too many dimensions here. I think that will get us a good sound base for a context for the next part of the meeting.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, so the Panini Shiva Sutras are totally al, and the starting is I1, Tulruk, A1, Ayouch. So these four constitute the Swara part of it. The total Swaras are contained in this. And however, onwards, up to the end, it is the Vyanjanas. What we are traditionally used to is A, E. That is a classical teaching. But in Panini, when he says A, E, U, he is already including the processes like elongation, dirgha, then long, then udatta, the swarita, and then the middle, udatta, anudatta, swarita, is including that particular. So why Panini not mention the I1 as a single swarasa, a single varnaksharasa is each akshara given here or each varna given here is a cluster. Where do we see that? In Panini Sutras, A is explained as A iti Ashtadashanam Sanna. A stands for a cluster of 18 individual phonemes. And at the end of the Panini Sutras, that is the last sutra, he says, Vivrutam Anubhya Sambrutam Anena Vidhiyate. So the entire range of pronouncing A in million phonetic ways has been covered it. Am I audible? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear
you. Okay, then fine, no problem. Okay, so I can speak. You can listen to that. So when Panini says in the last sutra A, he has covered the complete phonetic variations that come with just A. When it comes to the E, same thing applies. U, same thing applies. Ru, same thing. Ru, same thing. After the first two, A, O, I, O, is the internal combinations of A and E, A and U. Therefore, there is no need for the sutra to say here is a process embedded in this, because A is already having the embedded process called Guna Sandhi and Vruddhi Sandhi. So if A has got X number of variations and E has got Y number of variations, the XY combination as A or O, I, O also gives that much output, mathematically, technically. How much of this we use in a particular language as a standard pronunciation is context specific. When you say Agnimile Purohitam or any name like Akaradi, okay, Achyuta, Keshava, all that, we use one particular variety of phoneme what the speaker speaks, but it is one of the many which the mind maps to the basic phoneme, basic varna A. So the Ucharana Bheda, the articulation diversity by gender, frequency, pitch, all these things are one to many. And then that many gets mapped to one particular type of A in the cluster. Now, this detailing is required as yantrakshara for the machine, but in the human-human conversation, the mouth and the ear and the mind, somehow it just flattens and smoothens these differences. Machine cannot do it unless indicated. Therefore, A, E, U also provides a measure. This is answering the question why Paninian language is alpha primary, that is Varnakshara primary, and Sankhya is inbuilt into this particular thing. When we say Sankhya, there is a measure, mana, pramana, a unit. So A is humanly, it is the throat, vocal cords. That's where it starts with the flow of air and a little friction and all that. A. E is the palatal point where the branching takes place. So A to E, there is a human physiological measurable distance, measurable energy, measurable flow. Similarly, E to U is a curve coming down from the palatal to the lips, oshta, and unless the lips close and open, U sound cannot be pronounced. So there is a whole lot of the biological and the physiological modulations that take place in producing a particular sound. So the R to E and E to U is a technical measure of what makes a given sound a part of the human language, and under human languages, what makes it Sanskrit. So when we say A of the English, or alpha of the Greek or Latin, or aleph of the Arabic, it doesn't match to the A sound, the A basic varna. So the mapping or the transliteration approach of telling the visual symbol of the A sound in Devanagari or Telugu or Malayalam or any other Brahmi languages is mapped to the A or the alpha. In another convention is a convenience of programming, but it is not a phonetic equivalence. The logical extension or the mathematical extension fails the moment the visual script model is elevated to the voice. So the platform we have to decide is, if we are going on voice platform, what should be our character, cluster, set, sequence, measure, and parameters. This aspect is not there in the current design of the standards or the programming technology. In other words, to put a question, if the keyboard is taken off and a microphone is put there, and the screen is taken off and another microphone or speaker is put there, would we be able to program the machine the way we are programming with the visual scripts, notations? Where do we go for solution for this? The solution for this is give a Varna Sankhya notation for all the range of phonemic sounds, dhvanimas, which this human voice mechanism can produce, and all that range is completely covered by the Panini Shiva Sutras. So the first two sutras, Ayun and Rulrik, define the primary swaras, Mula swaras. Then Evong Ayouch, the next two, defines the combinations of the swaras in a particular sequence. So the process is inbuilt. Then comes ha, ya, va, ra, t. Now in human voice mechanism, the flow is on 4 lanes. The 4 lanes means if you imagine a road with 4 lanes, 1 lane is purely swaras, that is the pure swaras. Make a little shift to the 2nd lane, it becomes the vyanjanas, the vyanjana lane. Only vyanjanas can travel in this road. So that is called ka, cha, ta, ta, pa, the vargiya vyanjanas. Then come to the 3rd lane. The 3rd lane is called the yoga vahas. There, yara, lava, shasha, saha, these are the things that come. And there is a 4th lane where the directionality by anuswara and visarga is given. Are you going in a particular direction, north or south? This is the model in anuswara and visarga. Anuswara means inner resonance. You stay within the mouth. Visarga means you push it out of the domain, out of the basic lips, the range where it goes. So this technicality is taught in classical Sanskrit very routinely as akuha visarjaniyanam kantha, ichiyashanam talu, ruturushanam murdha, rutusanam dantyaha, upupadmaniyanam. This particular rule come into picture. Panini says, if 2 sounds are to be considered as equal, what is the criteria? A equals to A, how do you establish? Or A is similar to B, how do you establish this? This is the technicality of the sutra, tulyasya prayatnam savarnam, where the 5th sutra, ha, ya, va, ra, t, comes into picture. So ha, ya, va, ra, and then the next sutra, la, is the visarga sound getting transformed to the vyanjanas. And then that also covers the reverse combination of the swaras. If a and a